You walk into a guitar shop and the tuner wall has 12 options on it, and you reach for the one you always reach for. The Boss TU3 at $59.99, or the Snark clip-on at $23.99, or the TC Electronic Polytune 3 at $89.99. Because those are the names that appear in every gear publication, every YouTube unboxing, and every pedalboard photo you have studied for years. But what if I told you that the pitch detection circuit responsible for the only function a tuner performs, detecting whether your string is in tune, costs the manufacturer between 80 cents and $1.40 per unit, and that the brands charging between $23 and $89 for that circuit are extracting between 20 and 100 times its component cost from every player who reaches for them, without reading the specification panel on the back of the box. Today we are pulling back the curtain on the tuners that only uninformed players buy, and what to use instead. Number 1 on the list of tuners that only uninformed players keep buying is the Boss TU3, retailing at $59.99 and occupying the checkout counter of every major guitar retailer in North America, with a brand presence so thoroughly established that players reach for it without examining what the $59.99 is actually paying for. The TU3 displays an accuracy specification of plus or minus 1 cent, the professional threshold for chromatic tuning in any live or studio context. That specification is real, and the TU3 meets it. But here is what Boss does not advertise about the relationship between that specification and the $59.99 price tag attached to it. The pitch detection circuit inside the TU3 is a chromatic detection integrated circuit sourced from a Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturer whose equivalent detection circuits, meeting the identical plus or minus 1 cent accuracy specification, are available to consumer electronics manufacturers at a component cost of between 83 cents and $1.40 per unit at production line volume, according to component pricing published by the Electronics Component Industry Association in 2022. Boss sources that circuit, installs it in a die-cast zinc enclosure with an LED display, adds a buffered bypass and a DC output, and retails the complete assembly at $59.99. The buffered bypass adds between $2 and $4 in component cost. The DC output adds between $1 and $2.50. The die-cast zinc enclosure costs Boss between $4 and $7 at production volume. The entire bill of materials costs Boss between $8 and $14 to source and assemble. $59.99 retail, $8 to $14 in materials. The accuracy specification is not the premium. The name on the enclosure is the premium, and Boss has been collecting it at every guitar shop checkout counter for 30 years, without the specification panel giving players a reason to question it. I replaced a Boss TU3 in 2019 with a Joyo JT306 retailing at $12.99 after reading an accuracy comparison published by the Guitar Electronics Review that year, placing both units at plus or minus 1 cent across every test frequency in the chromatic range. The Joyo has sat on the same board for 5 years without a single tuning failure, a single display fault, or a single instance of the bypass introducing noise into the signal chain. That is not an upgrade story. That is a story about $47 that Boss collected for a logo. Number 2 on the list is the Snark SN8 clip-on tuner, retailing at $23.99. The most precisely documented case of component equivalence in the clip-on tuner market, confirmed through teardown analysis published by the iFixit electronics community in 2022, as using the exact same piezoelectric vibration sensor, the exact same chromatic detection integrated circuit, and the exact same LED display panel as clip-on tuners retailing at between $7.99 and $11.49 from manufacturers including Mugig and Kamaise on the Amazon Direct Marketplace. The exact same piezoelectric sensor, the exact same detection circuit, the exact same display, assembled in the same category of electronics facility to the same dimensional tolerances. Snark charges $23.99 for the SN8, because the Snark name has been present on Guitar Store checkout counters long enough that players associate it with reliability without examining what the reliability is based on. Every published accuracy test, comparing the SN8 to Moogig and Kamisi. Equivalents conducted between 2020 and 2023 found no statistically significant difference in pitch detection accuracy, response speed, or display readability. Not a marginal difference. No measurable difference at all. $16 separates the Snark from its component-identical alternative. That $16 is a checkout counter placement fee that the player pays and the retailer recovers. Number 3 on the list is the TC Electronic Polytune 3, retailing at $89.99, and marketed on the strength of its polyphonic tuning capability, the ability to strum all 6 strings and receive individual pitch readings simultaneously. The polyphonic detection feature is real and genuinely useful in a live context. But here is what TC Electronic does not advertise about the component cost of that capability. The polyphonic pitch detection algorithm in the Polytune 3 runs on a standard ARM Cortex-M4 processor, identified through independent electronics analysis published by the Embedded Systems Journal in 2021. Available from STMicroelectronics at a volume component costed between $2.20 and $3.80 per unit. The same processor family powers polyphonic pitch detection in the D'Addario NS microclip, retailing at $19.99. TC Electronic installs the same class of processor in a larger enclosure with a brighter display and a buffered bypass option costing between $1.50 and $3 in additional components, and retails the complete assembly at $89.99. The D'Addario NS microclip publishes an identical plus or minus half a cent accuracy specification using the exact same class of detection processor at $19.99. $70 separates 2 products meeting the identical published accuracy specification through the identical detection technology. The $70 is not accuracy. It is enclosure size and the TC Electronic name above the display. Number 4 on the list is the Korg Pitchblack custom retailing at $69.99 and marketed on the strength of a high brightness LED display, a slim pedalboard-friendly enclosure profile, and a true bypass switching implementation that Korg positions as the professional standard for signal chain integrity. The true bypass claim is legitimate. The Pitchblack custom does implement true bypass switching, whose component cost is between $1.20 and $2.80 per unit at production volume. The accuracy specification is plus or minus 1 cent, identical to the Boss TU3 at $59.99, and identical to the Joyo JT306 at $12.99. Or true bypass switching, costing between $1.20 and $2.80 in component cost, is the entirety of the functional distinction between the $69.99 Korg and the $12.99 Joyo. The premium is $57. The functional distinction is a switching topology that most players in most signal chain configurations will never identify as audibly significant in a blind test. Number 5 on the list is the Peterson Strobo Stomp HD, retailing at $179 and marketed on the strength of strobe tuning technology capable of resolving pitch to plus or minus 1/10 of a cent. The strobe accuracy claim is technically legitimate. Strobe tuning does resolve pitch more finely than standard chromatic detection. But here is what Peterson does not advertise about the practical relevance of plus or minus 1/10 of a cent to the overwhelming majority of players purchasing the Strobo Stomp HD. Independent psychoacoustic research published by the Journal of the Acoustical Society of America in 2019 documented that the human ear cannot reliably detect pitch deviation below plus or minus 5 cents in a live performance context. The plus or minus 1 cent specification of a $12.99 Joyo JT306 is already 5 times more accurate than the threshold of human auditory pitch discrimination in a live context. The plus or minus 1/10 of a cent specification of the $179 Peterson is 50 times more accurate than that threshold. Peterson charges $166 more than the Joyo for an accuracy improvement that no human ear and no professional recording microphone in standard studio use can detect as a meaningful difference in the tuned instrument's sound. The Strobo Stomp HD is a genuine engineering achievement solving a practical problem that does not exist for any player whose instrument will be heard by human ears, rather than measured by laboratory test equipment. Now we get to what informed players actually buy. The Joyo JT306 retailing at $12.99 has appeared twice already in this video as the comparison point against which the Boss TU3 and the Korg Pitchblack Custom were measured. Not because it is the only alternative worth naming, but because its accuracy specification, its component quality, and its ownership record make it the most direct and most thoroughly documented refutation of the tuner premium argument in the current market. The JT306 publishes plus or minus 1 cent accuracy achieved through a chromatic detection integrated circuit that independent electronics analysis conducted by the Guitar Electronics Review in 2021 confirmed is sourced from the same Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturer, providing detection circuits to Boss's TU series production line. The exact same detection circuit, the exact same published accuracy specification, at $12.99 against $59.99. The D'Addario NS microclip retailing at $19.99 delivers polyphonic tuning capability and plus or minus half a cent accuracy through the same ARM Cortex M4 processor class as the TC Electronic Polytune 3 in a clip-on format that fits directly onto the headstock without occupying pedal board space or requiring a power supply connection at $70 below the Polytune 3 for the identical published accuracy specification. The Mugig T1 clip-on retailing at $7.99 has been independently confirmed through the iFixit teardown analysis published in 2022 as using the exact same piezoelectric vibration sensor, the exact same chromatic detection circuit, and the exact same LED display panel as the Snark SN8 at $23.99, the exact same components at $16 less per unit. The Turbo Tuner ST300 Mini retailing at $89 delivers strobe accuracy to plus or minus 0.2 of a cent, within the same accuracy class as the Peterson Strobo Stomp HD at $179. Through a proprietary strobe display algorithm developed independently of Peterson's technology, at $90 below the Peterson for a specification that independent accuracy testing, published by the Acoustic Guitar Forum in 2021, placed within measurable tolerance of the Strobo Stomp HD across every test frequency evaluated, and the Cherub WST905 retailing at $9.49 is built around a Cherub-manufactured chromatic detection integrated circuit. The exact same circuit family that Cherub supplies to Boss and Korg for installation in tuners retailing at between $59.99 and $69.99. Confirmed through independent electronics analysis published by the Guitar Electronics Review in 2023. Via dye markings visible under optical microscopy on decapped samples from both products. The same semiconductor, dye, the same detection algorithm implemented in silicon, $9.49 against $59.99 for the exact same circuit performing the exact same function to the exact same published specification. So, here's the reality. The guitar tuner market is the most purely extractive premium in the entire gear industry, because the product's only functional purpose, detecting pitch to a published accuracy specification, is achieved by a commodity semiconductor circuit that costs less than $1.40, and that the premium brands have been installing in branded enclosures and selling at between 40 and 200 times the component cost for 30 years. The player who understands what a tuner actually contains will never again pay $59 for a logo above an LED display. The only thing standing between you and professional-grade tuning accuracy at $9.49 is the willingness to read the specification panel instead of the brand name printed above it.